Well, here we go again. YouTube's making changes to its terms of service. They are pulling people's content down and they're giving people strikes for old videos. And we all know this isn't about keeping the community safe. It's more about pushing large content creators off the platform that don't necessarily align with YouTube's quote unquote values. From the sounds of it, there are some big name channels that may have had enough at this point. That's what's brought us here today. I guess there's no better time than the present to go ahead and do an update video on the Rumble platform. Real quick though, let's just do a little bit of a recap to get people up to date who may not have already heard about Rumble. Down in the description, I'll go ahead and leave a link if you want to go sign up for Rumble. It is a platform that's doing its best to do business without invoking all of this, censorship and BS that a lot of other tech companies are doing. So the story starts out 2 years ago. I was turned on to Rumble by some other content creators. I did a couple of videos talking about Rumble, and those videos have done pretty well. At the time, Rumble was marketed as this video platform that was all about free speech. You could post basically any type of content that you wanted on Rumble, as long as it wasn't, illegal type activity. Rumble also claimed at the time that they paid their creators a better percentage of ad revenue than what YouTube did. The general feel behind it was that as a content creator, you were going to make more money being on Rumble than you would on YouTube, and your hands would be tied a lot less as far as what kind of content you could post. Rumble wasn't without its issues though, as I quickly found out. As a relatively new platform 2 years ago, Rumble did need quite a bit of work. At the time, YouTube was going through and they were banning and demonetizing a ton of channels. And a lot of those people were heading over to Rumble. It was like a mass exodus. And it seemed like there was going to be a lot of progress made over on the Rumble platform. So fast forward 2 years from when I first made those videos about Rumble till now. And I get a lot of comments asking me what's changed, how much it's changed. Spoiler alert, it's not a lot has changed over the course of the last 2 years. Let me be a little more specific. Very few of the core issues that were around back then have been addressed and fixed. There have been a lot of changes, but interestingly enough, most of those seem to be more superficial. So let's start with the terms and conditions on Rumble. It used to be wide open. You couldn't post illegal activity, extreme violence, or anything that they considered as being pornographic material. Makes sense. You also were only allowed to upload your own original content. So don't upload videos that show people how to cook meth. Don't upload videos of people assaulting people. No porn, and don't steal other people's content from other platforms and then try to re-upload it onto Rumble to try to cash in on their hard work. Other than that, you were safe. Things like discussions about vaccines or elections were totally okay because the idea of free speech is to get people talking and find middle ground on common issues that we all find. YouTube was banning a lot of accounts, and the only place that you could, freely talk about things was Rumble. Their terms of service didn't have a lot of gray area, and it felt like you could really create content without having to walk on eggshells or worried about, being banned or booted off of the platform. So let's just take a quick look at the current terms and conditions on Rumble and see how it's changed a little bit. So first things first, we have our terms and conditions. In order to be one of the leading video platforms for brand advertisers, blah, blah, blah. Let's just make this quick. Things that are not allowed. Number 1, content or material that we believe is pornographic, obscene, or of an adult or sexual nature. Bikinis. Why would you put bikinis in there? I mean, has nobody ever watched Baywatch? Let's see what's next here. Content or material that we believe is grossly offensive to the online community, including but not limited to blatant expressions of bigotry, prejudice, racism, violence, hatred, and profanity. While some of that makes sense, things like bigotry, prejudice, racism, and violence, the problem that I have here is this part here. Material that we believe is grossly offensive to the online community. Unfortunately, that leaves a lot to be desired in terms of, who gets to decide that? What is their interpretation as far as what's grossly offensive? Next, what do we got here? Content or material that exploits children under the age of 18. Yeah, obviously that shouldn't be okay. Number 4, content or material promoting or providing instructional information about illegal activities. Okay, so when we scroll down on this one, instructions on how to assemble or use bombs, grenades, or other weapons, and disseminating personal information. Whatever. Number 2, that makes sense. This one here, though, instructions on how to assemble or use bombs, obviously, grenades, obviously, other weapons. I hold an issue with that because there's nothing illegal about showing people how to use weapons. If I did a video showing people how to throw a hatchet, that would fall under this category. Technically, anything firearm related would fall into this category, even though it's not necessarily illegal. Down here, number 5, we have copyrighted material. Obviously, you shouldn't steal people's copywritten material or movies and repost them. This isn't the good old days of the internet. What else do we have? Content or material that infringes or encroaches on the rights of others, including but not limited to infringement of privacy and publicly rights to harm. Okay, yeah, so most of this is pretty cut and dry. The big thing that I have here is 4A. That really bothers me, the part about how to assemble or use weapons. It's very vague. I also have a problem with this part up here. Content or material that we believe is grossly offensive. Things need to be cut and dry. Things are either okay or not okay. But when they start saying material that we believe, well, who knows who's on the other side that's going to make that determination later on. So it's not a huge change, but they've definitely left some gray area where the terms and conditions are kind of up for interpretation, shall we say. Hopefully Rumble doesn't find itself in a position where employees are using those terms and conditions to specifically target people who have a message that they don't necessarily agree with, as that happens on other platforms. YouTube. Another thing that's changed is the Daily Rumble. So Rumble used to have this daily raffle type thing. It was called the Daily Rumble. Both content creators and viewers were entered into a raffle type scenario where at the end of the day, you could win some sort of prize, either a $5 prize for watching videos or up to a $50 prize for having a video uploaded and viewed throughout the course of the day. In the first 6 months or so of being on Rumble, I did get the $5 prize once, and I did manage to get the $50 prize once as well. At some point in the last year, I'm not sure when they did it, but they have removed that daily raffle thing they were doing. While it is kind of disappointing, I do get it. I understand that that was a way for them to try to draw people in and get those active daily user numbers up and try to entice more people to come over to the platform. They needed growth, and it was a great way to get it. The next thing is the licensing agreement for your videos. That is still just as confusing as ever. Basically, when you upload a video, you have a couple of options for licensing. Number 1, it can be for personal use. Now, if it's for personal use, it's not monetized. The video's there. You can, share links to it. Other people can watch it, but you're not going to make any money off of it. There's another one where it's an exclusive licensing agreement for Rumble, and that one is essentially you're signing your content over to Rumble and they will promote it. They'll post it on other platforms. They may lease it or rent it out to other people to use. And then you'll just get a portion of, what they make off of your content. There's another option that it says something about, I don't have it in front of me, but it's something like YouTube. That one is non-exclusive. That one means that you still own your content. You can post it on YouTube as well as on Rumble. If you decide to delete it, you can do that. You will get a percentage of the ad revenue that plays on Rumble, but you also have the ability to post that content on places like YouTube or Odyssey or other platforms that are out there. You still own and control your content. That's the big part. I don't like the exclusive one to Rumble where essentially they take over management of your content, because you can't go ahead and post that on other social media platforms. Once you sign over rights to Rumble, they basically get to do whatever they want with it. So if you're posting content, pick the one that says like YouTube. That one is going to be, a basic agreement where you're going to make some money from advertising, and if you ever decide you want to, take that video down, you can do that. You can post it in other places if you want. What I would like to see is the system changed so that you can upload your content and then go into some sort of sub menu and turn the monetization or licensing on or off for that video, similar to the way that YouTube does it. As it stands, you do have an edit option where you can edit a few things. You can edit the title and the description. You can edit tags. You can upload a new thumbnail picture if you want to, but that's pretty much it. Once you pick your licensing agreement, that's what it is. There's no changing that after the fact. One of the things that Rumble has added somewhat recently, which I find very helpful, is the ability to sync with YouTube. Now, there are several different platforms out there that have this same option, and I actually find it really helpful. With the option to sync content, you can go ahead and upload your content to YouTube, and what will happen is as soon as it posts to YouTube, it will turn around and move that content over to Rumble. It's all automatic. You don't have to do anything. You just upload it to YouTube and then it'll move it over to Rumble all on its own. Same title, same description, same thumbnail, everything. One thing that I did notice that doesn't transfer over is the tags or keywords that you put on your video. So at some point I need to do some copy and paste work and move those over for something like a dozen videos. Now I found this option to be very helpful because, number one, I don't have time to post my content to every platform that I'm on. I have a lot of other stuff going on. But the other problem is that at some point in the last year or so, Rumble has stopped letting me upload my content to their site. Well, technically it lets me upload, but it moves so ungodly slow, and it could sit there for days on end. I have let it sit there for days on end, and it never finishes the upload. That started about a year ago. Now, I haven't changed the settings on the way that I export my content. I haven't changed my camera. I haven't changed my internet service provider. I haven't changed anything. Everything is still the same. But what Rumble's done is apparently they've changed their settings for what uploads best, and it is not really compatible with what uploads best for YouTube, which creates a bit of a headache for me. So luckily I can just upload to YouTube and then it'll move it over to Rumble automatically. It's great because at a certain point I just gave up and I said, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to use Rumble anymore. If it's going to be this much of a headache for me to actually get my content posted on there, I'm done with it. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. Then one day I was actually on the app and I was screwing around in the options, and I found that content sync section. So that was kind of saved the day, I guess you could say. At this point, that is the only way that I can successfully upload content to Rumble. On the other hand, it does make it kind of hard to do exclusive videos that I have only on Rumble because they have to go up onto YouTube in order for them to go over to Rumble. Another major complaint that I had for quite some time that should have been fixed a long time ago but didn't: usable links on the mobile app. See, as a content creator, I have to be able to pay for upgrades, things like new cameras, camera lenses, lighting, microphones. There is a cost to making content. If you want to make better content, you have to make some money to be able to recycle back into that content. Like many other people, I put affiliate links down in the description below. Now, if you click those links and then you do whatever shopping after clicking those links, then I make a couple of bucks. That's what keeps this money machine rolling. That's what keeps the lights on in here. So the issue was that on the web browser version of Rumble, those links in the description of the videos were clickable. You could click them and it would take you to whatever website. It worked just fine. The problem is that, the vast majority of people that are watching video content, they're doing that from their mobile devices, their phones and their tablets. On the Rumble app, in those descriptions, the clickable links, they didn't work at all. It just showed up as the URL or web address. So at some point recently, they finally fixed that. I guess it's better late than never. It's just too bad that the 5 or 6 emails that I had sent in about it 2 years ago didn't apparently matter enough for them to fix it then. There's a lot of little things like that with Rumble where I just shake my head and I think, who's making the decision on what gets fixed now? What gets the attention now versus what are we going to work on later? How about streaming, for instance? Everybody loves streaming, right? Everybody's doing live content these days. Rumble put a lot of time, money, and effort into getting their infrastructure set up so that they could have live streaming for their creators. This was a big deal to them at the time because there were a lot of content creators on YouTube that were doing a lot of live content. A lot of those people were being banned and booted off of YouTube. They had to have a place to go, and the only way for Rumble to entice them to come over was to get their live streaming service set up. Now, I understand Rumble is significantly smaller than Google. Google holds like this massive monopoly, the likes of which the world has never seen before. And I understand that Rumble has to pay the bills, but in order to use the live streaming service on Rumble, you have to pay for a pro account that's $10 a month. So if you're a small content creator and you want to do, I don't know, live stream playing video games or talking about, I don't know, politics or whatever, you're going to have to pay $10 a month to be able to do a live feed. And to be perfectly honest, you're never going to recoup that money unless you are one of the top channels that Rumble promotes all the time. You're never going to make enough money from advertising on Rumble in order to recoup the money that you have to spend to get that pro account to be able to live stream. It's just not going to happen. We'll talk about money later, but for right now, let's stick to live streaming. This push and focus to add live streaming to Rumble, this was part of a bigger plan to entice those big channels that were on YouTube to come over to Rumble. They needed those creators and they needed the audiences that those people brought with them. You may have recently heard that Rumble did sign a multi-million-dollar deal with Donald Trump Jr. To get him to come over and do an exclusive podcast or channel on Rumble. Rumble has Dinesh Souza, Steven Crowder. They have Russell Brand. They have, Dan Bongino. His show is exclusively on Rumble. Tim Pool also puts his stuff on Rumble as well. Without live streaming, none of those people would be on Rumble, and none of their followers would be over on Rumble viewing content. My issue is those smaller to medium-sized channels that helped bring Rumble to where it is now, how Rumble treats them. See, it's those content creators that built Rumble up and got it to the point that it could go from a privately owned company to a publicly traded company to be able to afford to sign $20 million deals with content creators. Now, as soon as the platform started making a little money and gaining some momentum, all of those channels that got it to where it is, Rumble turned their back. Rumble's left all of those channels to basically fend for themselves. They don't promote any of them. The only channels that they promote now are those big names that they've signed big contracts with to bring them over. Joke's on Rumble, though. The next thing that I want to talk about is viewership. Now, I'm going to pick on Dan Bongino's channel for a minute here. There's nothing personal against him or his content. It's more a matter of easily being able to list the numbers. See, Dan Bongino was one of the first people to leave YouTube and just say, screw it, come over to Rumble. His channel is exclusively there on Rumble. As of right now, he has roughly 2.5 million subscribers. Seeing that makes you think, wow, you really can build up a massive following on this platform. When you start scrolling through his content, though, you're going to notice that his average view count for his videos is right around 250,000 views. So he's got 2.5 million subscribers, and each of his videos on average gets about 250,000 views. Steven Crowder, he's got like 1.1 million subscribers, and you can scroll through and do the same thing, look at his content, 100,000, 200,000. Some of those videos have 400,000 views. It's certainly not the 1.1 million subscribers that his channel has. Most of those big channels on Rumble, their subscriber to view ratio is very similar. The fact is, people just are not spending the time on Rumble the same way that they do on YouTube. There are a few reasons for that, of course. First off, if you do any type of search, regardless of what search engine that you use, it's always going to populate with YouTube as far as video results. Rumble, though, they do not make this any easier, considering that their search and suggestions within their own app is broken, and it's been broken since I first used the app 2 years ago. All right, let's make an example here. Let's just go ahead and do a search for a video that I made, and it is called Core Sucks. And I'm going to type it in here exactly as the title is written. Now, oh, big surprise, we've got Russell Brand as the #1 search result. Your blood is being sucked. Okay, next one. When your policy sucks. Okay, sucking, sucks. So basically what they've done here is my search for Core Sucks has only brought up search results where the title has the word sucks in it. But I can come over here and I can go to my content and I can scroll a little bit. Okay, so here's my video. Core sucks, exactly as I typed it in. C.O.R.E sucks. But their search doesn't work. They're trying to elevate the views for their top channels, and they're really only pulling information from your video titles. In fact, if we come over here, this is the suggested video section here. Censorship sucks, Hollywood sucks, PayPal 100% sucks, YouTube sucks. They don't use any of the information that's in the description. They don't use any of the tags or keywords that I have put into this video. They're simply going by the video title. So I've sent multiple emails into Rumble about this issue. I have also messaged and posted on the social media of both the official Rumble social medias as well as their CEO. I make a comment, something about your search and suggestions are broken, they're not functioning the way that they should. Then they say, well, what do you mean by that? And I break it down and I say, well, your search is pulling only from video titles, not descriptions, not keywords, not nothing. So you can't find anything that you're looking for on Rumble. And then there's no response, there's no answer, there is nothing being fixed. Neither the CEO of Rumble nor their official social media pages will even touch on the subject of how useless and broken their search and suggestions are. It's not just that video. You can spend 20 minutes and just do a bunch of random searches on Rumble, look down through the videos and see what kind of content is coming up for those searches. Watch a video and then look over there in the suggestion area and see if any of those videos are actually like related to the video that you just watched. It doesn't matter how good your content is. If people can't find it on Rumble, they can't watch it. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have on Rumble. If people aren't watching content on Rumble, then you're not going to make any money. You're not going to get any exposure. None of it matters till Rumble actually gets serious about putting their time, money, and effort into fixing these things that are wrong with the platform. Right now, it seems like it is only the superficial changes that they're worried about. In fact, their CEO was on Twitter a couple of weeks ago talking about how excited he is about the new user interface that they're working on. User interface? Good God. Dude, could you just make the search function work properly? Even if right now, at this very moment, YouTube shut me down, I have zero incentive to create content for Rumble. There's no money in it. And I know it's not about the money. At the same time, though, there has to be a way to support your channel in order to grow and create bigger and better content. That's just how it all works. If I'm doing product reviews, there has to be money coming in for me to buy products to be able to review. There are, in fact, overhead costs that are associated with content creation. As much as the censorship and the politics over on YouTube just infuriate me, right now it's the only way for content creators to actually be able to pay the bills. Rumble can't figure out how to make a search bar actually work, which means that most content isn't going to be able to get enough views to be able to earn a living off of the advertising on Rumble. Because of those low view numbers, you're also not going to be able to get any type of paid sponsorships, and your affiliate links are never going to get clicked. That's just how it works. Remember, that's across the board too. You have channels that have millions of subscribers who are getting, a couple 100,000 views, and that may seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, those people aren't making anywhere near the kind of money that they need to keep producing the content they're making. This is the reality of Rumble. It's been 2 years since I first signed up, and everything is basically the same. A small channel, somebody who's, trying to start out and make a podcast or whatever the case may be, they don't stand a chance at growth any more on Rumble than they do on YouTube. My first instinct when I first came across Rumble was, I didn't think that I would ever be able to build a channel on YouTube. So why not just put my content both on Rumble and YouTube and hope for the best? Here we are 2 years later, and I'm not going to give exact figures, but I can tell you that what I make in one day in advertising on YouTube is more than what I've made in 2 years on Rumble posting the exact same content. And believe me, YouTube's not real friendly with advertising when it comes to gun channels like mine. And just to be clear, I'm not totally giving up on Rumble, and I don't think that you should either. What I'm saying is that their CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, he's really got to make a decision. He needs to decide whether or not he wants this platform to actually work. If he wants it to work, he needs to get serious about fixing the things that actually make a platform function. Don't even get me started on the analytics portion of Rumble. If anybody from Rumble is actually watching this video, I know you guys don't actually read the emails that I've sent in about this, but take a minute and go into YouTube, look at the analytics section of their data, kind of copy that format. Make Rumble have the same level of information that you can get on YouTube, because Rumble's analytics are trash. They aren't user-friendly. They're totally quirky. They feel like something from like 1993. And there's no way to get enough information for a content creator to be able to build their channel the way that they should or they could on other platforms. There's all these little quirky things on Rumble that need to be ironed out. They need to be fixed, and they need to be fixed sooner rather than later. There's no question that YouTube is pushing harder than ever to get people off of their platform who don't fall in line with their ideals. When that day comes, either we will have a functioning platform in Rumble or we won't. It's up to the people at Rumble to decide whether or not they are willing to put in the work, because they aren't the only option out there. Here's my advice for you if you're a content creator. Go ahead, make an account on Rumble. Don't worry about all the hoops that you have to jump through to verify yourself. That's all there to make sure that You know, they don't get a bunch of bots the same way that YouTube has. If the platform ever does pick up and kind of figure out life, that's great. You're already there, you're already established, you already kind of have a feel for the platform itself. While you're at it, keep putting content on YouTube and any other platform that you can find that will allow you to post there. Whatever your content, whatever your message, the name of the game is to reach as many people as humanly possible. Right at this very second, that means that Rumble is more of a backup, a last resort. Please, baby Jesus, don't let me get banned from YouTube because Rumble ain't going to pay the bills right now. I guess what I'm saying, in summary, is that after 2 years of using Rumble, not a lot has changed. I've emailed, I've sent in suggestions, I have almost spammed the CEO as well as the official social media accounts for the platform. I've sat here and watched as they have done all kinds of other stuff other than fix the things that are holding the platform back. After 2 years, I am not fully convinced that they're going to be able to get their shit together, but I'm still kind of hopeful. If in the near future Rumble actually makes some real advancements, if Rumble actually becomes a usable video platform, then I'll go ahead and do a video update. Hell, if they ever get to the point that they're a workable platform that has real viewership, I may shut down my channel on YouTube altogether and move exclusively to Rumble. For now, though, I'm going to call it a worst case scenario, last resort. Rumble, please get your life together and fix your platform, or else people aren't going to use it. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you back here real soon.